All right, we're here. We're in.
We're in.
We're in. We're hot. So what's up, dude? How
What's
you
going
been?
on, man? We got in the world of gaming, there's actually things to talk about.
Oh man, there's so much going on. I mean, it could be a really good year. I mean, it could there's some stuff that's not great. And we're going to get into that. That's kind of the
Mm-hmm.
premise of today is is this going to get the big question is this going to end up getting canceled, or is this just going to get delayed and delayed until 2030? Um Yeah, I'm not too sure. So I think that's the big question of the day is I mean they started the hype with what 2024 was the release date initially?
2024 was the estimated release date, which even that people were kind of like, wow, that's a ways off.
Yeah.
But you start to think about the other games that are coming as well. So it kind of makes the wait feel a little better.
Right. Right. Well, and I mean it looked amazing. So who is going to say no, I don't want to wait for that.
Oh,
I'm not I don't want to
I've
wait for
been
that.
hyped ever since I've watched that trailer multiple times.
Yes, exactly. So that's I guess that's kind of my point is are they going to is that the thing right now? Is that the we're waiting for we just wait and wait cuz it looks awesome? Is that the new hype? Because I think that's kind of silly, right?
It, I think in the world of video games, especially when it comes to the Star Wars IP, it yeah, we're already seeing in the comments, please don't cancel. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, we don't want this canceled.
Right.
I think when the Star Wars games
Ronnie,
started
welcome.
getting comfortable to talk about
Yeah.
in 2015 when EA released Battlefront. And I was personally kind of hyped that EA had it because I've always been a fan of a lot of their games, but I know there's things with that particular brand and some people have their issues with them. But I was all right. I was like, I think we're gonna get something good. And I personally really enjoyed 2015's Battlefront, but
Okay.
it wasn't what people wanted
Hmm.
for a new Battlefront, right? There were things missing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
really didn't live up to its predecessor.
Well, I mean,
So
and this is going to be a kind of an indictment of myself, but are the sequels ever as good as the originals? I mean, is
this
there
is
ever? There's very few. I feel like in the gambit
mhm.
of anything, any IP, whether it's video games, whether it's um, movies or TV shows, is the sequel ever better than the original? I mean,
It's so hard to accomplish, man.
yeah,
That's the thing. And especially in a case like that where you end up not doing a direct sequel, but instead you do a remake, I guess you
right.
could say.
Well, Ghostbusters 2016, right?
Mhm.
There's a great example, right?
Yeah.
um, a cameo from one person in the movie in the originals at the end of the day, and it didn't go over well. Whereas you see
Yeah.
the reinvention of the story in the latest one, and it looked and felt amazing.
Yeah. That was what a story right there in itself to even just kind of explain that type of a scenario. And and I'm even one who's like I've defended in some aspects the 2016 Ghostbusters because personally I don't think it's as bad as it's made out to be. But it's not Ghostbusters. Like that's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah,
It's not Ghostbusters. It's
right.
a Ghostbusters inspired thing.
Spin-off, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
spin-off, right?
spin-off. Let's call it spin-off. This was one of the kids that watched Venkman come out of the tower in New York
Yeah,
and was inspired to start their own squad. How about that?
exactly. This is
They convinced the most handsome man in the entire city to be their secretary. So uh yeah, I
we
think
we
that's
we can at least say we got Kevin
yeah,
from that movie.
I mean, it's but again, yes, the sequel it's tough and the sequels are always a difficult uh action, whether it's, you go back to great flicks and great shows, it's the same thing. And with video games, I think it's also that, because
Mhm.
especially with video games, players get so wrapped up in the aesthetics and the feel of the motion of the controls, like all of these little things get wrapped up in it.
Mhm.
And then you go to play the sequel and you're like, cool, this is just going to be an extension of that game. It's going to be the same
Mhm.
style and everything, but an extension. And then you're just kind of, you're kind of let down by the whole thing. So I feel like that's a large part of it for me, is that they don't always follow through with, like, that's why I was kind of hoping they would do something new instead of a Battlefront 3. I know a lot of people are hyped on Battlefront 3, but I was
Yeah.
kind of hoping the opposite. I was kind of hoping they would do something a little different, maybe.
Get a brand new spin on something. And that's,
Something.
you know what it is? Here's what it is about sequels, especially video games. It's when you're dealing with sequels, obviously you're dealing with an existing fan base, right?
Right.
But a video game is way more of an investment for a
Yep.
fan than a movie is.
Yeah.
Because this is an evolving experience.
Yeah.
You're in this, especially games now. They're so cinematic. You're
So, dude,
so in it.
look at that SOTOR
Oh
uh
my dude, yeah.
cinematic. That thing was I mean,
Dude,
geez,
that was
I
practically a
wanted to
movie in
start playing
itself.
it just to find out how we got there. Like, that was amazing. That
Yeah,
was
that
absolutely
was
amazing.
killer, man. That was top notch. And all those cinematics that for that
Yeah.
game that have come out have been that level. So it's yeah, point here, yeah.
Point take. Yeah, I mean, the cinematics are amazing, and aren't we at the point now where and this is just me bringing you into the conversation in this specifically, aren't the sports games so realistic in their graphics and engineering and their game flow, that why can't we get cinematic gameplay like that for Star Wars? Is it too
Mhm.
fast?
Well, that's one of the reasons I was so hyped when EA announced that they were doing Battlefront, right?
Right.
Because I've played the EA sports games since pretty much day
Oh,
one. I've watched, I've played, I've experienced this evolution. And to see the latest sports games, even the ones at that time, I was like, wow. Yeah, I thought that was a remake. Yeah.
right. Like, I was like, oh, this is sick.
Yeah. uh, and there's so much possibility there. And you would think an IP like Star Wars would get nothing but the best put to it. And here's another thing too. Speaking of on the topic of Star Wars games and Battlefront in particular from EA, and some people may think I'm crazy.
You're crazy.
I'm probably crazy. Personally, I think the graphics in Battlefront 2015 look better than Battlefront 2 2017. There's something
Yeah.
about the character models and the environments that have that grittiness that Star Wars is.
Yeah.
And I feel like Battlefront 2 got a little too shiny. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, look, it's well, here's my thing. If you're using the computer style, I'm a loss for words right now. The little ping pong balls they put on them.
Oh yeah, the motion capture stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If they're using that motion capture stuff for Clone Wars, for fight scenes between Ahsoka and Maul, why can't you give me that in gameplay?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, because EA did a pretty good job with Cal Kestis in the fight scenes, right? So why can't we get more of that style, but more evolved, more human like
Yeah.
the sports games, right? I mean, the computer engineers are always bringing in the players to do facial, just so they can put their face on a player, not necessarily, hey, run plays. I mean, if
Yeah.
maybe they do, that'd be dope. But they're always bringing those guys in to do to do VO and stuff like that. And the late great John Madden used to come in and do the same thing, come in VO and probably let them capture his face. Why can't we get that kind of motion capture in more video games now that are coming out? Look, like, I'm pumped for Lego Star Wars. That's going to be dope. Put that on a shelf by itself. It's a different category. But why can't we get that motion capture in games that are coming out now, like Battlefront, right? Like anything else that's coming out. I mean, Eclipse, the trailer looked great, but like the guys were saying in chat, there's no gameplay in that. It's all cinematic, right?
A more recent game, I would say fairly recent at this point, that is a perfect example of what you're getting at, and why can't we just have this now going forward?
Yeah.
God of War.
Okay.
That was done fully motion captured throughout, because they had the two actors, the guy playing Kratos and the boy playing his son. I forget their names. Yes, smash that like button.
It's a hard. I mean, there's so many games. It's hard for me to remember everybody.
Yeah, but when you look at this game, especially the behind the scenes of how they did that, hey, look at that.
Just saying.
That's a good looking pint glass right there.
That's a great looking glass.
And doesn't the drink taste better too?
Its water tastes like it just came off of an iceberg from Alaska. It's just that much. See, I don't even need ice. It's cold all by itself.
Is that shameless promotion right there? Is that the shameless promotion ever?
Plug. Absolutely. Didn't mean to derail your thought. I was thirsty. Please continue.
If you take a look at how they did God of War, and even like The Last of Us is another great example. So you had the actors there all the time. I'm sure there's plenty of certain gameplay elements where it's like, okay, that's not motion capture. There's certain things going on here, but for the most part, it's them, and you're getting this performance that when you watch something that's CG, your brain is processing this, and there's things you're suddenly you're picking up in the back of your mind. It's like, okay, that's not real, and your brain knows this,
right?
But we also sense the reality, and when movement is real, we know it. That's why it feels so. That's why season 7 of Clone Wars, Ahsoka versus Darth Maul, looked so good.
No longer Darth.
Oh, true. You are 100%.
No, he might have still been Darth Maul then. He just changed it in Rebels. But yeah, no, I mean, that fight scene looked amazing, and because it was mocapped, because that's why it looked so good. And that's my only thing is that why can't we get more things like that in the space? But let's get to the subject at hand. So we start off Eclipse. They show this. I mean, where did they premiere this trailer? Do you remember?
That was
it was something big, I thought.
What was everybody? It wasn't Game Awards. It was just the it was like the showcase.
Like the video game show. Oh, it's a video game, like the coming, upcoming stuff.
Yeah, it was just like it was a constant reveal after reveal.
So they give us this reveal. They say coming, soon. Of course, that's always the mantra with video games nowadays. But then we get to, 2024. That's when we're going to start release, 2024. And that's when we're going to thank you, Matt. He's like the Encyclopedia Britannica. He is Google.
I don't go to Google anymore.
We just call Matt because he's faster than Google now. He actually is Google. He's answering everybody's questions at the same time.
True.
But yeah, so we get announced it's 2024. Everybody's like, cool, that's a long time. This was late 2021, so that's a lot of time, but whatever. We've waited for Lego Star Wars for like it feels like 10 years. Yeah. So we fast forward a little while, and there is some drama in the company. Dream
Quantic.
Yeah. Has some issues with their CEO, right? It was the head honcho, right?
It was, I believe it was the head. There were rumors and claims.
Hold on. Stand by.
in the dungeon! Thought you ought to know.
All right, I couldn't help it. I made it just for him. Okay, please continue. Hello, friend. I'm sure he's still at work. It's still early out here on the West Coast, so
it is early. Yeah, for you guys. Yeah, I'm at a quarter after.
yeah,
6
you're like, get the kids to bed. I want to play. Right. But yeah, so they come out. Dream Quantic has some issues, right? The CEO
internally there was some claims, some things going on internally, different types of levels of harassment potentially. I can't say for sure what any of it is. This was all just, things like that, but it was enough that it put people off of this developer. Now they've come out with some stellar games. One of the most recent, Detroit Being Human. Oh my goodness. Like their level of quality is top notch. And before that, my first real introduction to that company was the game Heavy Rain, which that game had me. I was in. It was a whole murder mystery, whole deal that you're interacting with in a totally new way. And I was hooked. So when I heard that this was the company doing a Star Wars game, I was hyped, dude.
Yeah.
There's so much possibility.
And I feel like that's how a lot of people were, because that's what we were hearing across the metaverse, right? Across the metaverse, all we hear is, oh man, the guys that made, this game are gonna do a show. The guys that made this game are gonna do a show. The guys that made this game are gonna do it, or are doing a game. So we get all of this hype, and then it seems like in a minute, the hype has kind of turned into this media frenzy. Now, again, this is a Canadian company, right? This isn't an American company.
They are. Is it there? It's definitely a French company, but is it French Canadian or just or actually?
Yeah.
I don't recall. There's a French aspect here somewhere.
Now, here's the Stanleys is telling us that the guy was acquitted of the accusations withdrawn. Again, I don't know. I cannot confirm nor deny anything. But it seems like there's some drama in the office now. Whether the accusations are true or not, I am, again, not me. X-Wing is telling us it's French Canadian. Okay. And they have offices in Canada. So from your own boy? Damn, that's stone cold. So we get into these allegations, and that, allegations nowadays with the social media and the press, whether it's Canadian press, American press, Mexican press, Telemundo, I don't know who that is. It's everywhere, right? The metaverse just sucks it up, and whether it's accurate or not, because the metaverse doesn't have a judgment filter, they don't have an accuracy filter. You put up whatever you want, whenever you want, and it's okay. I get carried away on my channel too. And then it's out in the metaverse. Now, whether this man was guilty or not, whatever the case is, I'm not judge, jury, nor executioner, but it does some damage to the company itself. So I can't remember if this guy stepped down or not, but then we hear 2026, a few weeks after these allegations come out. That's another two. That now makes this a 4-year push for a game. So then we start thinking, well, is this going to happen at all? Right? That's when the whispers and the mumbles, are they going to cancel it? And here we are.
Well, it's pushes like that we've experienced in the past, where games just then get shelved and they don't come back.
Yeah.
Or
and that's the worry.
Yeah, that's the worry. I mean, we've been burned before with Star Wars games. Not the same style here, but 1313.
Yeah.
That was ready to go as far as we knew.
Right.
And then it was gone. But it's even even no matter the turnout of the accusations and everything there, it still was enough that it caused a problem with the company internally, specifically with staffing, from what I'm hearing.
Right.
They had a lot of job postings, from what I'm reading, over 60, and there's still over 60 openings remaining. So now we have a delay in a project, which I'm sure is not their only project.
No, probably not.
Right.
Especially if it was so far out. Now, the bigger question is, are there multiple layers to why they can't fill these
Mhm.
jobs, right? I mean, number one, obviously, I don't know if the gentleman is still working there. I don't know if he still runs the company. Like I said, I'm not a reporter, so I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm just here talking about the game itself. But we get to the point where now it's 2026. They put out a bunch of job postings and they can't fill these jobs. Now, is that because there's so much competition in the market right now with all of the games that are coming out, specifically just Star Wars games themselves?
Mhm.
Is that because there's a lot of competition in the market and American companies are paying better? Or is this a result of the work environment at Dream Quantic?
And
Right.
it could be a combination of both. You know, it's hard to say. Look, we know that the IP is out there for multiple developers to work with. So yeah, that competition could be very real.
Right. And that's my question is that part of the reason, there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of games coming out. And this company just, maybe some people quit, maybe some people didn't, maybe whatever the case is, it seems like there's a lot of job openings. So, I think that there's a couple layers to that, to them needing people. I think it's a couple different layers. I think there's a lot of work out there in the gaming space right now because there's a lot of companies. I mean, companies probably some people have never heard of are trying to develop games, right?
Yeah.
So it gets back to my original question. Did this company release this trailer to build hype for a game that really wasn't functional?
It's very possible because making a cinematic is very different from gameplay.
Yes.
At this point, doing a cinematic is easier than
I
doing
would
the
think
gameplay,
so.
right?
I would think so. Yeah.
It was definitely
I can't
reversed
do it.
back in the
I can't
day.
do either.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I'm too stupid, right? I'm too stupid, right? I'm a dummy. But it just seems like there's a lot more involved in creating gameplay than creating a cinematic.
Yeah. And then on top of that, what type of gameplay? Because
Right.
we don't really know what this game is going to be. We had like little hints, but is this another KOTOR style? Is this Fallen Order style? There's a lot of different aspects to go into it. So when you get a cinematic release as a trailer, that's where a lot of gamers do have gripes because it's like, okay, you showed me something all shined and polished and doesn't actually represent the experience.
Well, I mean, go another step into that. You're giving me a story that has never been told that I'm like, yeah, that looks dope. Who are those people?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get no context of it because you're going to get shelved. Right now, it's pushed to 2027. I mean, that's a 5-year window. I mean, at this point, like Scotty was saying earlier, why this is a grand opportunity for somebody like EA to come in and buy the product. Look, you're never going to get this out. No one wants to work for you. No one, people, the metaverse automatically has a bad taste in their mouth for your company right now related to this. So why not just sell us the IP that you are already working on and let us develop what you never developed, right? And I guess that's the gripe is that the new way to get your ideas in the hands of the Star Wars promoters, right? The Star Wars people that have the licenses. Is that the way to do it? Do we just create hype on the internet and then figure out gameplay later? Is that the new blueprint for sales?
I hope not, because that's a slippery slope right there. Because then think about how much the market could get flooded with just a bunch of hype moments, but then there's no fruit.
I'm doing it. I mean, I'm not hating on it. I'm trying to do it. Like I'm working on it. I got some people trying to help me do some of that exact thing. I mean, look, if you can't beat them, join them. No, I mean if that was me, I would be like the Sith of all Siths, but instead of the shill of all shills. But yeah, I think that that seems to be the motivation these days for these companies. Let's build hype. Let's get our name all over Twitter. Let's feel this out. And then see if that sticks, right? It's like throwing spaghetti on the wall to see if it's ready.
Yeah. I mean, we've had games in the past where the reveal was just a cinematic reveal. Even Knights of the Old Republic, if you recall, the initial trailers we got were just the cinematics of the ships flying and the environments, but the game doesn't look like that. Now, it ended up being one of the best games ever, but
right.
Quantic doesn't have the ability to make large open world MMO games. Well, we have Ubisoft doing the open world one.
Well, we don't know what this game was going to be because they never showed us any gameplay, right? Like that's
we're just speculating.
Yeah, I mean, it's a guess. Was it going to be MMO? Was it going to be this? And rumors are rumors until they're facts, right? I mean, and although this is a world that facts are now opinions, but facts are still facts, and at the end of the day, we got a lot of leaks, we got a lot of review or rumors, but at the end of the day, we never got a single frame of gameplay.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel like these guys, you know, I mean, do you have to show gameplay in order to release a trailer at these gaming conventions, at these gaming releases? I mean, that's my, I guess, because you got a Star Wars license, great. You got that Star Wars license, but what did you do with it? At this point, it feels like sell me that license.
Yeah.
Right. Let me create something different with that license, since obviously your company's not going to do it for 5 years. I mean, we've been waiting for Lego Star Wars for that long, but that's because it's Lego Star Wars and we'll wait forever.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm going to be playing that nonstop when it comes out. This is a good point right here that X-Wing is saying. It's like, take a developer that's making like Gran Turismo, a simulator, but then go make a Mario open world first-person shooter. It's like, go do something completely not what you do and make it great. I mean, that's a lot to take on. I mean, we have it's very different from marketing and teasing a movie or a show. Like we could have some of us were talking about this, and I posed the question over in Discord about even like Kenobi coming up. Like we're gonna get a trailer any day at this point, right?
God,
I was waiting. I know, dude. It's so like,
God, it's like I say the same thing every time when somebody talks about it. It's like trying to run away from a man throwing bags of money at you.
It really is, dude.
It's like, here's some free money. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What are you supposed to do? I don't want your money. Take me. Right. Like, what are you supposed to do? Because you're never going to give back free money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like Kenobi. Everybody's talking about it. Every stream I'm on, and they're like, "Oh, Kenobi," and I'm like, "Mute, exit." Right.
But that's why, like, I pose the question, because I wonder how much should you show in a trailer for something like this? Because I posed a question, like, I was like, "What do you guys prefer? A trailer that actually shows scenes from the show?" Or maybe something that just sets the tone for the show. Maybe take old footage and
how about nothing? How about you know what would make a more impactful view for me? Show me stills from it.
Okay, I got you.
So all you get is a still and nothing revealing. A Vader, a Hayden in a Vader suit, Kenobi meditating in the desert, right, with some voices. 30 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. We're done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I love this, Jordan. Look,
Mm.
that looks gourmet.
Why, thank you.
She's like, you sit in this chair so much. I'm just tired of waiting for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, I feel like it's
I'm sorry.
no, that was perfect timing. I love it. It's just as much fun when that happens as when you as when she's just talking trash while you're getting beat up in games.
Oh, she's so good at that. I get ripped
Oh, it's
apart.
great. It's great.
But I'm with you though. Like if we get shown nothing, the impact of the show can be that much better. Because now it's like you're going in, it's like you're taking it in for the first time all at once. You don't have an expectation. Oh, obviously we have expectations for
But yeah, I mean that's I feel like that's the hook for me is like, look, you don't have there's so much hype built into this already. You don't have to show me a trailer. Right? You don't have to show me nothing. I don't want to see nothing.
We already have trailers running in our head already.
Bro,
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Show me some desert, right? A desert wind blowing and Kenobi at a campfire, right? Show me something like that, or Vader in a bacta tank, right? Just stills, or just floating motion, and or the wind cutting across Kenobi, and all you see is his Jedi cloak in the wind with the sand cutting across, right? That's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Something that just sets the tone. And that's when you have a video game that releases a cinematic as the trailer, that's what that cinematic is doing.
Exactly.
You're setting the tone.
Exactly.
And I was all like, when we got the ECLIPSE trailer and seeing things in there that I have never seen in Star Wars before, I'm like, wow, okay, we're getting something new.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Stanleys, I totally agree. Just show some stills. Or some really just with Vader's breathing. You got to show nothing, not a lightsaber, not a nothing. Just maybe a screenshot of two guys in different places on a split screen, and all you hear is Vader breathing. I don't know. I just think there's too much opportunity to mess it up and to give up too much. And that's why I hate trailers, because they give up the best of the show or the best of the movie before you get in the theater. So the ones that I want to see, I don't watch trailers for.
That's the thing, because they give away too much, because I think the people who are putting out the trailers, they get a little too excited about it. Like, it's because I get it. It's like you want to be amped up. And could you imagine being the one? It's like, hey, make us a trailer. Here's the movie.
Right.
Watch this.
Oh, dude,
make a trailer for us.
Hand me that. I will make you something that will be so vague. The whole world will be scratching their head going, what?
Yeah.
What? Wait, what? And then because I wouldn't want to give away a single juicy iota.
But then when it comes to a video game and you're like, I got to make a trailer for a video game. Well, you almost can't until there's something to play. And that stage in the game is much later than when you're dealing with filming a movie. You could film just a few days and already have something.
Well, I mean, look at what happened with Lego Star Wars, right? They had a date, they pushed a lot on that because they don't feel it's ready. So it's a different, video games are a totally different animal, and that's why the big question is, do these guys get acquired? Right? Does this game get acquired by another company just because they don't have the negative stigma that goes with this? Or do they just outright shelve it because it's too far away? And by the time 2026 comes around, 2027 now, no one's going to remember.
Yeah.
Especially with all the content we're going to get between now and then.
Exactly. We have a lot coming up in the next couple of years. Like, we have things that are going to fill this gap. We're getting that range in style too. Right? So there's going to be a lot there for Star Wars fans in video games. Here's my biggest concern, though, about the possibility of this project getting scooped up by another developer. One of the biggest reasons I was so hyped was because it's this developer, because I've played their prior projects. And now in my head, I'm imagining what I've experienced already in Star Wars. To be like,
Right.
how do I apply this to Star Wars now? And that's
Right.
where I got really excited. Now, if this just falls into the hands of EA, I know I'm not going to get that experience that I'm
No.
thinking about.
No, I mean, you want this to go into I mean, what Microsoft Gaming now? It wouldn't be BioSoft, it wouldn't be Activision or Activision?
Or whatever they became. It didn't Activision.
Yeah.
What happened with something happened with them?
I
forget.
think they're BioWare now.
They're BioWare now. Something.
I don't know. But anyway, now they're Microsoft.
Everybody got bought by somebody.
It doesn't matter. Microsoft owns their ass now. Anyway, so now does a Microsoft just go to this company and say, look, we don't got no Star Wars games on our docket here over here, and I need something.
Yeah.
So let me give you this big check, and you guys just put this towards one of your other games, right? And forget about this. I feel like that could be a better play if you're having problems employing people. This isn't even having problems in development with game issues and people complaining of your beta testers complaining. You're not even in beta.
Well, that's the thing. They could be sitting there head scratching right now because they don't have anyone who could do the shading. Like, it's just like, what could it be? Like, who are they missing? Which key players are missing from their roster right now that is stopping this development from continuing? And
well, yes. I mean, you obviously have a story you want to follow. You obviously have a gameplay goals maybe, and all your missions may be mapped out and all that on a storyboard or whatever. But at the end of the day, I have that. I have that. I have all that written on a wall also.
Yeah.
But I ain't got no programmers. It sounds like they're in the same boat as me. Right? Like they're several million, billion, potentially dollar company. We're in the same boat with our development. You've got a great idea. You've got a direction you really want to go. You see it in your head. You got a vision board. You got little heart stickers on everything that looks up, right? But you got no programmers. You got no developers. You're in the same boat I am, except you're losing money daily on this. And I'm just sitting here getting frustrated that I don't have any programmers. So is that the new blueprint? Do you release a cinematic trailer to build hype, to get more people invested and interested, get your Twitter followers up, get your views, and then figure out gameplay? I mean, I don't want to do that. I don't like the bait and switch.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's a good way of going about it, but it might be their only choice right now, because they have to get this project out to the right people to understand that it exists. Maybe not necessarily out to the whole public, but people in that world, in the gaming developing world, need to know that this exists to get bodies in there to start working on this. It's when you have a company that has internal struggles that become public, it's really hard to recover from that. And games take a lot of time to develop.
Years to develop.
So many, and people, I know a lot of gamers, complain about the wait for certain things, but it's like, you know what? Sometimes that wait is actually the best thing for it, because then you're getting
but 5, that's great. 2 years is a good. I think that was even too. I think that was premature. I think they brought the bun out of the oven way too early.
Yeah.
But then 4 years, then 5 years. Like that's a bridge too far, man. That might be too far away. Especially if you're not going to bring anything out soon, because you got no developers, you got nobody in there. I mean, maybe you got a few people, but not the proper amount of people to build this. So it's going to stay static.
Yeah, I think this trailer drop was a gamble. I think they were at this point, we got to do something. Here's our last ditch effort. Put it out there. We have this.
Well, and what person, right, that's into video game design watches that trailer and then sees a job opening in that company and goes, nah, I don't want to work there. Right. Before the scandals. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what I do for a living and I'm into Star Wars and I watch that trailer and go, oh, that was dope, And then there's a job opening on Indeed or Monster or wherever you get jobs nowadays, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna apply for that. I mean, is that how you're gaining employee? Is that how you're shopping? Is that how you're drafting? Is that how you're scouting talent?
Well, here's an interesting way of
No,
going
I'm
about that.
asking because I want to know. But I need people. I want to know.
I'll say this in like kind of a comparison of different ways companies have handled recruiting, right? So take Nintendo, for example. We know that Breath of the Wild 2 was coming.
Yeah.
Even at the point of Breath of the Wild 1 launching, and then it was out shortly, and right away it was like, there's going to be a direct sequel to this. Well, what Nintendo did was they didn't fully announce a sequel. But what they put out into the game developer world was, we need dungeon designers. We need this. We need that. That when you put the puzzle pieces together and enough of that got out, the word got out, people were like, oh, that's Breath of the Wild 2. That's what they're working on. So I'm sure people were lined up at their door like, I want to work here and do this and work on this project because I know what it is.
Well, I mean, yes, absolutely. Yes. I think when you're shopping for work and you see certain companies, certain games, but at this point, it just seems like they built hype. Unfortunately, they had some issues. If the hype hadn't got derailed by the scandals, then maybe it would have still been a 2-year gap. But that's not the world we live in, unfortunately. And now they're hurting for talent, right? And that's a huge issue in today's market because so many people transition in and out of jobs during the pandemic, and people are looking for different things to do if they couldn't find work during those times. Although I feel like computer programmers for video games can work from home.
Yeah, there's if the right means are provided, that it's doable.
So I don't feel like that market should have had as much backlash, but I mean, there, like I said, there's still opportunity for the game. I'm not saying it's getting canceled, but will it? I mean, it's so far away. I mean, look at games like 1313 where seems like they had active gameplay.
They showed actual gameplay, which you know what? Maybe that was the only section completed. We don't really know.
Again, exactly. Right.
It looked complete though.
There's a game like that's complete that got shelved. This is a game that we've seen no gameplay of. I agree totally. But this is a game that we've seen no gameplay of. So why couldn't it get shelved? Right.
Yeah.
So it just seems like, unfortunately, we're in a bit of a limbo holding pattern until they tell us what's going on. But it seems like this could this get canceled? Could this get shelved? I mean, could somebody else buy it out? I guess the best hope would be another gaming company buy them out.
Yeah. But at that point, we have to then expect, well, we don't even really know what to expect. Like, even like X-Wing just mentioned here, like, for all we know, this could have been a turn-based mobile game that was being developed, right?
For sure.
But the real thing was that we're all itching for.
But like you said, that company isn't known for making mobile games,
exactly,
right? And that's kind of what we're fishing towards each time we talk about this stuff. Is what kind of games does this company make? Okay, that company makes this style of game. That company makes this style of game, and very few companies jump the spectrum. I think EA might be one of the few that does multiple styles of games, from sports to and on. Whereas some companies, this is all they do; it's their bread and butter. So,
well, that's the thing about this developer, is that when you look at their prior work, that the way that trailer looked is honestly how the game could look, because their game experiences were very cinematic, where you as the player are only really involved to a certain extent. It was a lot of decision based. It was a lot of, you're doing strange motions with the analog stick to do certain things. It wasn't like a run and gun or hack and slash or anything like that, but it was a fun experience and you felt like you were driving the story and making this happen. And that's what hyped me so much about that being a Star Wars style game.
Yeah.
I was like, could you imagine your it's up to you to determine the path of this force sensitive person, and they start maybe on the dark side, or they're a Jedi and you turn to the dark because it's your choice.
Right.
You know, it's there was so much potential there. And if any other developer takes it, I know right away that's not the game we're getting.
Right.
You know?
Well, and that's kind of how I feel like this is where we're at in the metaverse, right? Because the clicks talk, right? It's not about what's true or false or what's really out or what you really have. It's about how many clicks can you get, how much hype can you build, and it's not really about what's out there. And that's kind of what it seems like in this particular IP. It seems like Star Wars games have a hard time getting to release.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's such a sensitive IP. You know, everyone wants it to be good. Everyone, the developers, the company. It's so different than just putting out another Mario game or another Sonic game or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's
no, 100%. I totally agree with you there. I mean, it's not like putting out something. Star Wars is a tricky, touchy, needy band of misfits, and it doesn't always go well. And they've shelved some really great games before and some really great concepts. It just seems like this had a really cool concept, and it just seems like I just feel like we may not see it, unfortunately. I feel like it's so far away. I mean, 5 years from now, we don't even know what we're going to be doing in 5 years.
That's the
right?
thing. And
we could all be glowing in 5 years for all we know.
Well,
we don't know.
That's true. We could be. We could be all digitized by then. Maybe we are the game.
You know, exactly. We might already be. I mean, we could be living. We could be getting blue pilled every day for all we know. But yeah, I mean, this is it's a long time out, and to even know where the IP is going to be in 5 years is a tricky slope. That's what I'm saying. 2 years is a gamble in its own. Because 2 years, you don't know where the IP is going to be. You don't know where the fandom's going to be. You don't know what's going to get released and taken. You don't know what's going to get pushed off to the side that people didn't like. So 2 years is a tough stretch. That's why you don't release these kind of things until you're closer to actual release. But 5 years is, I mean, we don't even know where the IP is going to be at that point. I mean, the mouse could have burned the whole house down by then. We don't know.
That's the thing. So, there's so many things in play. Like, think about when you push out even just like a film or a TV show. Let's say a TV show goes on a long hiatus.
I got a perfect example for you. Black Widow.
Okay.
Right? Put that in when they were gonna release it earlier, maybe in between the two movies, right? In between Endgame and
Civil War and all that,
or Infinity War and Endgame. Put it in between that where it made sense, and that movie would have done amazing. But you put it 2 years after, and it's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, right? Releasing that after Endgame made no sense.
You put it right. But
yes, you're exactly right. Yeah, it would have landed so well. It would have been so successful because it would have continued. Everything would have just lined up.
Well, and then we would have got the sister would have made sense coming into Hawkeye instead of needing to release that to make it make sense for Hawkeye, right? Like there's so many things that people would have enjoyed going, oh, are we going to see the sister again later? Where is she? Are we going to see her in this show? Are we going to see her in this movie? Oh, she got blipped. I didn't know she got blipped. Or you don't know what happens to her, right? She just adds another layer of mystery, but instead it's a complete afterthought, and everybody disliked it, where I think if they would have released that at the right time in between the two movies, it would have hit, people would have loved it, and we would have moved forward. But again, that's like you're saying, and this game releases next year, it's on fire. But 5 years is a long time, dude.
We can't really say what it's going to. So now it's really relying on how do these next Star Wars games play out with the fans,
And
right?
movies.
And movies. We
shows.
have movies and shows coming into play. The biggest release for Star Wars games before this is going to be Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Mhm.
If that game fails, I don't think Eclipse happens.
Well, I mean, here, how about this? Release this trailer around sequel time
Mhm.
and then release the game now. It hits.
Yeah.
5 years, right? Because that's about a 5-year span. It hits. So how are these guys going to know where the Star Wars fandom is going to be in 5 years? Are they going to be knee deep into prequel or prequel stuff? Are they going to be into High Republics? Like, where's the fandom going to be based on what's out? It's just a slippery slope. I think 2 years was a gamble in its own. 5 years is, that 10,000 to 1 odds that this makes it,
Yeah. Like,
So
and this could change if their situation improves.
For sure.
That 5 years could become 3 years, and
For
it
sure.
could, it's
Unfortunately,
lot-
the trend tends to be
yeah.
going on the apex up too early, and it seems like it's all down on
Mhm.
and I don't like to talk like that here. I like to keep hope in that, but I mean, really, this is 5 years, man. 5 years is a long time in the Star Wars universe, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of. I mean, 5 years ago, everybody was burning down the House of Mouse, right? Because they did Luke wrong. Fast forward 5 years, everybody's got their lightsabers on, back out of the dust closet because Luke's a badass again. So like 5 years does a lot to an IP. Who's to say that we're not gonna see that, soon enough?
Yeah. And it's, I think one of the things they might be really hoping for is that these upcoming games kind of play as the, hey, look over here. Look at this thing over here while we're working in the background. It's like we got Lego Star Wars, we got Arena, we got Hunters. I'm sorry, the Arena one, Hunters. Jedi Fallen Order 2. And also on top of that, if during this time Ubisoft's project comes out, and if EA's next project comes out, which could be Battlefront 3, it could be another thing, it could be whatever, but we have a lot that's going to drop in this time frame. In a 5-year span, there's going to be a lot of Star Wars gaming. And as long as it's, for the most part, successful, this Eclipse game has a better chance.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the more games do well, the more legs it gives this. Absolutely. But on its own, it shouldn't need those games to do well.
Agreed.
And unfortunately, I just feel like time is working against them. If the clock was the clock to begin with, I feel like this is an eternity, and I feel like more people are going to forget and lose interest, especially once we get a couple of these new games. Once Star Wars Legos comes out, it's over. It's over. Everybody's going to be all over that, right? And same thing when Fallen Order 2 comes out. These games are going to dwarf the gaming Star Wars metaverse to where if these guys are still having problems, can't even release another cinematic, then they're in trouble. So and honestly, the SOTOR was more. I felt like that cinematic just put Eclipse to sleep.
Yeah. Oh my God, that overshadowed it by like a mile, man. That thing was fire, man. That had a beginning, a middle, and an end to that cinematic. There was a story there. Eclipse is just set the tone, and we're going to really speculate on what we were even looking at.
Right. And for me, that's the hook, is that it seems like this was a reach from Jump Street. It seems like Eclipse was a reach, being as they gave us no gameplay, and since then they've just had nothing but bad luck, and it seems to keep going that direction, unfortunately. So
and I will say that something that actually already is hurting the IP in video game form right now is when it comes to Lego Star Wars. This is a game that was delayed and delayed and delayed.
Yes.
We're finally getting it, and something that I'm really upset about, and I hope they just patch this and make it happen. No online multiplayer.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that article.
Right? I have a feeling they're going to add it. It'll just come in an update.
And that's fine.
And
that's fine.
that is definitely fine.
I think people are going to be stuck in this game for months anyway.
There's so much in it.
much.
There's so much. So that's the thing. Like, we're going to be playing Lego Star Wars for a long time. And then all of a sudden, we're suddenly going to kind of just look away for a moment and go, hey, Eclipse is coming out. Like,
I mean, I hope so. I do hope so. I hope that Eclipse can get their stuff together. I hope that they can get a nice group of people to get this company back on track, to get this game back on track, because the cinematics looked fucking amazing.
Oh yeah.
The story looked awesome. You were in, you didn't know where they were going to go. It was are those Sith? Are those who are those? Right. And those are great questions to leave us with, to speculate and build your hype. But 5 years is a long time. So this, I mean, to be honest, unless news breaks that there's going to be more in the positive, where we see these guys making strides and getting some gameplay out and moving the timeline forward, I could see this being the last time I talk about this for 4 years.
It could be. And that's and that is
at least on my stream.
Well, that's and as a, we're all gamers, at the end of the, but it's especially like for me, where I game a lot, at least for, what I consider a lot for me, but it's
you game a good amount. Yeah.
To not have that to talk about, like, I want to be excited for these things. I want to be excited for like a Star Wars release is, for me, it's like Nintendo finally coming up and saying, hey, we're finally making a new Mega Man. Like,
oh yeah,
where I'm like,
we're making a 3D Mega Man where we're going to sell you a Mega Blaster, and you're going to actually stick your arm out every time you want to blast, right? Like, that's the kind of hype that's what this is to me. I'm with you, dude. I'm an old Mega Man dude. Like, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But this just seems like this isn't the normal Lego 1 to 2 year push. This is 5 years. I mean, you could have I could start making a person by now, and they'll be old enough to play this game by the time it comes out. I mean, forget about it.
We're going out. Yeah, see, like, that's what they're banking on. They need the new players.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're building this for the womb children right now. But I mean, really, I could literally start building a baby, and this baby would be playing this game or able to hold a controller by the time this game comes out. So
there we go. You heard it here first, everybody. If you want Star Wars Eclipse, start making babies.
But yeah, I mean, it's a shame too, because I really want this to happen. I really want this to come out. I really enjoy the idea of this story. And so I'm keeping hope, but unfortunately I'm not going to bash on these guys forever. I'm not going to drag their name through the mud forever. So like I said, unless we get some progress on this front, I could see this being maybe one of the only times I bring this up on my stream, unless there's positive progress.
Yeah. And you know what?
Or it gets actually shelved and canceled. And then I would do a formal announcement.
At least we heard something, though.
Yeah.
This didn't go a year and then we found out about the delay.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with
you. So that does give me hope as well. It's like, okay, they're letting people know what's up. Right. And hopefully that trend keeps up, that we get information.
I agree with you 100%. I hope that more games come out. I hope that none of the games get shelved, including this one. And we'll keep you posted. Like I said, we'll always try to get out here and talk about it. If not on mine, on yours, on everybody's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to discuss this because I saw this trending today, and I wasn't sure what the deal was. So, but yeah, let's. I'm gonna jump over and watch the Evil Ewoks. They're coming up at 4 East Coast or West Coast, so I'm gonna go watch them for a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to bring you in. You're the gaming guy in my circle, so I wanted to chat a little bit about this with you and kind of pick your brain and see how you felt. But yeah, I think that I think this was a good time, and I'm glad you had the time.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Anybody who hasn't already that's here, but I think most of us are cross pollinating the metaverse. But if you haven't, Matt Cave's link is down in the description at the bottom. So get over there and sub to him. He's just past 300 subscribers. So we are on a mission to get him to 500 to meet or surpass me with a quickness. So let's make sure to tell your friends and everybody here to get on over there. And we're going to jump. So as always, thank you to Matt for coming over and helping us with this. And anything you want to plug on your way out?
Just that I have some catching up to do on my channel. I've let some things fall behind that I will be resolving. For example, Kenobi the game. I gotta finish that.
You re-edited a couple of movies. You've been a little busy. You
yeah.
get a pass here, you know.
I had a crazy thought that I ran with, and it consumed me for a couple of months.
It was great, dude. It was great. It wasn't months. It's been a couple of weeks. It's only been a month. You're good. You're good. It wasn't. You didn't sit in the edit for 6 months. You're good. But yeah, if you haven't checked that out, get over there. Get to Matt Cave's Discord. Reach out to him. Get the link because it is an amazing revision of the Star Wars trilogy sequels. So
I do have all 3 out now.
I know you do. He does have them all completed. So if you haven't, get over there and check his stuff out because those revision movies, I've only seen the Last Jedi one so far. But I know that the other 2 are going to be just as fire. So get over there, get down there, subscribe to his channel, get in his Discord, get the link to see these because you're going to want to watch them. It sets a whole new tempo for the movie. It gives the fans a little bit of a fresh breath, a deep breath, if you will, I will call it in the sequel fog.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate
get over there,
it, man.
No, it was great, man. You did a great job. I know we're going to talk more about it as we watch more of them. So get over there and check out Matt Cave. As always, thank you for being here. And if you haven't, like, subscribe, share, and let's get us up there to another level. So thank you, Matt, and everybody have a great